Hey everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and in just about a week's time, we'll all be sitting down ready to watch Sony's PlayStation meeting press conference on the 7th of September. But while a lot of the talk has been about what new hardware Sony will show and how much it will cost and what it will actually do, not many people have been talking about what games will actually be on display at the media briefing. So I thought it'd be fun to have a little chat about what software Sony might use to show off the new PS4K, or Neo as it's codenamed internally. Now, PlayStation meetings have a rich history of showing off new titles. In 2013 we got our first look at games like Killzone Shadowfall and Drive Club, among many others, and at the PlayStation meeting before that, which saw the unveiling of the PlayStation Vita, we also got our first look at a game like Uncharted Golden Abyss. So it stands to reason that there will be games at this press conference, and there will be games designed to show off Sony's new hardware. But while a lot of people have been talking about what new announcements will be made, I actually think Sony's going to show us new demos for titles that have already been revealed, whether it's at E3 or just generally on the PlayStation blog. And I think the three games that they're going to focus on at this event is going to be Horizon Zero Dawn, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and Watch Dogs 2. Now, I picked these three games because I think they're titles that are coming up that Sony has marketing arrangements with. We know obviously it has the massive deal with Call of Duty, and we know that Sony's extended its relationship with Ubisoft on Watch Dogs as well. So these are three games that Sony is kind of required to promote from a contractual point of view, and also these are three games that I think would really show well. So you can imagine Call of Duty showing off some fancy new graphical effects or something that are only possible on the PS4K or Neo. That makes a lot of sense to me. And the same of course with Watch Dogs 2, which may run at 60 frames per second perhaps on PS4K, when the standard version will be 30 frames per second. And Horizon Zero Dawn is obviously the first party title. We know Guerrilla Games are really good at pushing tech, at pushing the boundaries of PlayStation hardware, and I think with that game coming up, I want to say it's coming out in February, but my mind's gone blank, so please excuse me if I've got the release date wrong, but we know it's coming early next year at least, and that's a game that I think Sony will use as like a real tentpole PS4K exclusive, if you like. Now, there has been some chatter about Red Dead Redemption. People said at E3 that it was pulled out of Sony's press conference because of the tragic events that happened in the nightclub around the same time as E3. There was that mass shooting, wasn't there? And people said at the time that Sony had pulled the trailer because it featured a barroom shootout scene. Not sure I believe that personally. Could Red Dead Redemption 3 be there? It certainly could. Sony and Rockstar have an amazing relationship, and it would be a pretty big stage for Rockstar to announce its next big project. But Rockstar kinda doesn't need that kind of platform. It's why they've never been massively present at E3. Rockstar kinda does its own thing. So I can't see Red Dead Redemption being there. We know it's in development, it's definitely coming. They'll announce it one day, I'm sure, but probably not at next week's PlayStation meeting. As for games that I would personally like to see announced, now I don't think this is going to happen, but I definitely think there could be a shout for a kind of Bloodborne 2. Now obviously Sony has its Tokyo Game Show, its Japanese press conference, a week later on 13th of September I believe, and if it were to announce a new Bloodborne game, you would expect it to then follow up with more details in Japan, because obviously it's going to have Japan Studios input. So I would personally love to see a new Bloodborne announced. I think it would be a good fit for this Neo press conference, because a lot of fans are not worried, but they're kind of uncertain about what the future holds for PS4 and PS4K and all this stuff. And I think the announcement of Bloodborne would kind of be a fan-focused, a really well-received by the hardcore PlayStation fans, and it would kind of take a little of the emphasis off any potential negatives that may come out about PS4K or Neo. Hopefully there won't be any, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd love to see a Bloodborne 2 announced. I think that would be a really good fit for this press conference. But we're going to have to wait and see. I really do think that it's going to be Watch Dogs 2, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and Horizon Zero Dawn. I really think those are the games that they're going to focus on at this press conference, and what they're going to use as kind of the marquee titles to sell this new piece of hardware. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below if you have any predictions for next week's PlayStation meeting in terms of what software will be on display. Do you think Horizon Zero Dawn, Watch Dogs 2 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare are the kind of titles that you'd expect Sony to show? Or do you think maybe they'll have something else on display? Do you think they're going to make some big new announcements at this press conference? Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks as always for watching.